We'd like to welcome everybody. My name is Marji Lee, and I've been working at the Asian American Studies Center for the last 22 years. We are celebrating, this is actually our very last event of our 40th anniversary events, which we've been having all year long, and we've had a total of about 20 events since fall of 2009. Celebrating the 40th anniversary of the UCLA Asian American Studies Center brings to mind a tradition of Asian and Pacific Islander student activism that started with the 60s and 70s Asian American movement, and today continues on with the coming out of undocumented worker students to fight for their right to an education in this country. In fact, it was the student activism of Don Nakanishi and Lowell Chun-Hu that started the publication of Amerasia Journal, which is now the core flagship journal in Asian American Studies today. In this issue that we are featuring today, titled The Political World of Asian Americans, a tribute to Don Nakanishi, I would like to read to you from one of the student leaders in Don's tenure struggle. And this is in the issue, and it's an article by Mary Katayama, who was the president of the Nikkei Student Union at the time when Don got when the tenure struggle ended. The title of her article is called Doing the Right Thing. On May 25th, 1989, we made history at UCLA. An Asian American professor achieved tenure for the first time in the Graduate School of Education. Even though Professor Don Nakanishi clearly deserved this appointment, his campaign for tenure required years of hard struggle by students and community people who joined together to demand justice and equality. This struggle was similar to the efforts of so many Asians and Pacific Islanders and other people of color who have had to undertake throughout our history. The case was significant to students, not only because of the university's unbelievable bias against Professor Nakanishi, but also because it exposed the university's appalling record in promoting minority faculty, especially in the social sciences. Also, the case symbolized the university's low regard for community-based research and Asian American studies. In analyzing our outreach work, I believe it was critical that we were able to unite with other people of color. Without the support of third world people, I do not believe we could have been successful. I will never forget how inspired I was listening to Amanda Kemp, an African American student from the Los Angeles City College representing the African Black Student Statewide Alliance, and other third world students at our rallies demanding tenure now. To win any major struggle, people of color who share a common vision must work together. By maintaining a broad perspective and working collectively, we were able to build tremendous pressure on the university. This is an example of power to the people.
Today's program is actually called Globalizing Asian American Politics. And what does that mean? I have no idea. That's why I invited Tricia Toyota, Shirley Hune, and Susie Ling, as well as David to give us some clues. Roughly put, globalization usually refers to economic integration, which privileges investors, lenders, while anti-globalization movements promote rather social justice and human justice issues. Obviously, globalization, Asian Americans, and politics might encompass these two polar definitions, but also encompass much more. Ethnic politics and the politics of Asian Americans today is complex, and Asian Americans, be they Taiwanese, Chinese, Korean, Filipino, Vietnamese, Cambodian, Japanese, Hmong, or Pacific Islander, often have political, religious, social, and cultural concerns well beyond the two-party American model, or even beyond two countries, since many have migrated through 2, 3, or 4 nations at any one time. As well, technology and travel have meant that an Asian American can mentally and ideologically be in more than one place at the same time, and even cast their votes in 2 countries, buy stocks in 2 countries, get married, raise families, or do business in at least 2 or 3 places. In my classes, there are latchkey kids from Taiwan and China whose parents leave them in the U.S. for schooling. A lot of them are at UCLA, and they have to leave them with an empty condominium and cash. And Asian Americans, be they professors, small business owners, or workers, cannot be unilaterally called pro-globalization or anti-globalization because their lives and experiences usually reflect a dynamic and sometimes contradictory or conflicting set of politicized experiences and social circumstances. Interestingly, many times it is the 1.5 or even the second generation, the children of immigrants or refugees, who serve to throw these contradictions and conflicts into the sharpest relief. During the Los Angeles Rebellion, for example, many in the Korean American community observed that it signaled the emergence and articulation of the 1.5 younger generation of Korean Americans who often spoke to the mainstream press and politicians. Nonetheless, with foresight and insight, almost 40 years ago, was Don Nakanishi, who explored some of these issues around minorities and international politics in an article he wrote by the same name, republished in the special issue of Amerasia Journal, available today at a discount. 20%. Don Nakanishi, in fact, as an undergraduate student at Yale University, was the founding publisher, together with editor Lo Chun-hoon of Amerasia Journal way back in 1970. Since fall 1971, the journal has been published at UCLA. Thus, Amerasia was, from the beginning, actually a joint publication of the Center and the Yale Asian American Student Association. Part of Don's persistent and prescient vision, then and now, was to anticipate the need for a scholarly journal that could capture the amazing and startling transformation of Asian Americans and Pacific peoples into a political and social force to be reckoned with.